Hi, I'm Kaden.
This is Jordan.
And this is the Life is Tough podcast.
And today we're going to talk about self-validation. So, what do you know about self-validation?
Well, what's the definition of it? Because I can't really,
It's okay. So, self-validation is, yeah.
Okay.
Self-validation.
Is it where you like to,
Okay, so self-validation is, so say you're having a situation going on and a little kid, for example. So they fell, they hurt themselves, they don't know what to do. The first person they're going to look for is mom to validate that they are okay because they don't know how to self-validate that they are okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so self-validation is just making yourself okay in the situation, that type of thing. And I have an analogy for self-validation to kind of put it in a better perspective. So the self-validation analogy is the broken microphone. So imagine that you're speaking into a microphone, but your cord's disconnected. So as you're trying to talk, no matter how loud you talk, it's not coming out. You can't hear your voice come out of the speakers. So instead, you're relying on the people around you to say that they heard you.
Okay.
So this is what happens when you don't learn how to self-validate, is you're looking for the people around you to say, yeah, I heard you. Yeah, I understand. Yes, you're okay. What that does is it gives other people basically control whether your feelings and expressions matter.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's important because reconnecting your microphone or self-validation, it allows you to hear and trust yourself again. So you would no longer need those people around you to confirm what you think is going on.
Okay.
So this allows your brain to understand that your experience matters and should have more weight than somebody else's opinion of your experience. So the outtake for that is to stop waiting on others to turn up your volume.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So do you know any, a lot of people struggle with self-validation, and a lot of people don't even know what it actually is, right? Because not a lot of people are taught these things. So if your parent doesn't have the tools, they can't teach you, right? Because I can't teach you to go skiing because I don't know how to ski. So that's something that has to be passed down. And self-validation is a tool that has to be learned and passed down. So a lot of people may struggle with this in relationships and things like that because of gaslighting and manipulation. It can cause a person to question their reality. So they no longer know how to self-validate. What ways do you think you could self-validate?
Well, for yourself?
Yes. So think of a situation. So say you tried out for a part in the school play and you didn't get the part, and the person you thought that shouldn't have got it. So you feel like you're not good enough and she's a better singer. How could you self-validate in that situation?
Well, you could look at it from a different perspective, and you could be like, well, maybe they were better fit for that part, and maybe there's a better part out there for me that I could play, that I that you feel like that maybe I could play that part just as good as this person that I thought wasn't right for the part plays that part, because everybody sees things in a different perspective. So maybe the music teacher was like, well, this person, the person that like you didn't like, didn't want to get the part, got the part, like they fit the part more.
Mhm.
But hey, here's this part that I think you'll fit more.
Right.
Like, I guess you could like be like,
Yes.
maybe there's like a better part out there for me, and like instead of bringing yourself down, you like
Yes.
think better
So,
thoughts.
That is actually kind of like there's a few different tools for self-validation. So there is like inner dialogue, reframe. So this is talking to yourself in that situation. So no matter what time of your life it was, you view yourself in that time. And so say you're in college now and you're still thinking about this part that you lost.
Mhm.
What you would do is you would imagine yourself in high school and you would tell yourself, okay, well, this is what happened. However, it's because you were better for this part and you just didn't know it yet.
Yeah.
So what that does is that takes those emotions that are stuck to that event and helps you process them through your body.
Mm-hmm.
Because your body, your emotions can get stuck in your body, right? You've heard that before? Mm-hmm. Have you heard people say like depression hurts and how anxiety and depression can make your body and stuff hurt? Have you heard that?
Yeah.
Okay. So that is actually from those emotions just getting stuck from certain events and traumatic things in your life. And it doesn't have to be a big traumatic event either. A lot of people think that it needs to be this huge traumatic event for it to cause a lasting problem, and it doesn't. Because so can you think of anything from like kindergarten? Because I know you can remember back that far.
Yeah.
Can you remember anything back then that that still kind of bothers you to this day? Like you remember it? You don't have to say it out loud if you don't want. You can just say, yeah, I do.
One kid was rude to me and he made fun of me for crying. Okay. So then he got in trouble.
Right. So because you remember that now, as you're remembering it, what do you feel as you're thinking of him making fun of you?
Nothing anymore.
You've already sat with it? Mm-hmm. Okay. So when you used to sit with it, what would you feel? Would you feel like sadness or anger?
It kind of bothered me because, he didn't really need to do that.
Right, but why did it bother you? Like, because it was wrong, yes. But how did it make you feel?
Made me mad.
It made you angry.
And upset.
And sad. Angry and upset. Okay. So, when you sit and you think about that situation, how could you reframe that situation from your childhood?
Maybe he had something going on that day. Mm-hmm. And me being upset kind of annoyed him, and he took it out on me.
Right. So, and that happens in a lot of cases. People can have something going on at home, has nothing to do with you, but for some reason it just triggered them. Yeah. So, learning to do that in all these different events helps your body to process everything a little bit easier. That is more of like a body-based validation type thing. Because you're going back and you're placing where you feel it, and then instead of pushing it down, you're allowing it to go through. And then on top of reframing that situation, you can look at yourself in that time frame and say, I do hear you. You're allowed to feel that way. And I trust myself to handle this emotion.
Yeah.
And you can also say, like, visualize yourself holding your younger self's hand and say that I'm here with you to handle this situation.
Okay.
So this works by, like I said, allowing those emotions to process and not get stuck. And then on top of validating your emotions, you can do a self-apology.
Okay.
So you know how you've heard people doing like the letters to my younger self,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry you went through this because you didn't deserve that thing.
Yeah.
And you're able to say that because you understand the situation now.
Yeah.
So you can do the same thing. You can do the apology to that younger self. I'm sorry you went through that. You didn't deserve that. That had nothing to do with you. And that doesn't define who you are. Because
Yeah.
some kids will hold, I
Well,
shouldn't
hold
say
on.
some kids. Everybody holds weight to words.
Yeah.
Everybody. But does that help you understand how to process things a little
Yeah.
bit more? So with learning to do that and going back to your younger self, do you think that would help you with self-validation anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That helped me a lot.
Why?
Well, I mean, I guess really, you can't talk to your younger self
You
or
can.
anything. Well, yeah, you can, but because it's you. But you can't go into the past and
You can't. So
so-
depending on how you view things, though, because they say time's not linear, like we view
Yeah.
it, future, present, past. So you can talk to your younger self, and you can talk to your future self, and you can use your intuition to heal these and help guide you as you go. So you can. Most people don't, though, because
Yeah.
the stigmatism of talking to yourself was crazy.
Yeah, because it's just people see that as
Right.
insane stuff.
So
but
doing all this and the events, you think does help with self-validation.
yeah,
Is there anything you think you could add to that?
to self-validation,
Yeah, to self-validation. Do you have maybe any scenarios or anything?
Not really. No.
Okay.
I'd just say probably I'm gonna work on that, and I feel like a lot of people could.
Yeah, I mean that's something that I still work on.
Yeah, because you shouldn't feel upset for something that you didn't cause.
Right. Or something that happened in the past.
Yeah.
Because it's in the past and it has nothing to do with now, but you're still letting it have an effect.
Yeah. And also, you shouldn't let everybody validate everything for you. You should try and work on that to validate yourself, because the more you let people validate for you, the more you're not going to know what's right or wrong,
right,
or how you feel, kind of.
And you've heard the term codependent, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you are somebody that can't self-validate, you're going to fall into that codependent category.
Yeah.
Where you're going to rely on somebody for everything. Mm-hmm. And when a big situation happens, say that person's not there, a lot of times that person is just spins in circles because
they
don't
start
know
freaking out. Yeah.
And they end up making the situation worse.
Mm-hmm.
So I think self-validation and learning that would be a tool for everybody to learn. I think that's something should be taught in school.
Yeah. Because a lot of people, I was talking about this with one of my teachers, a lot of people are still codependent in our school.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of need to become not you don't need to become independent, but you need some parts you have to find independency in some different things. You can't rely on people for everything.
Yes, because as an adult, you can't always count on somebody to be there.
Yeah.
That's something that some kids will never learn because they're always going to have something handed to them or something given to them or whatever. So some people may not learn that until way later on in life, but the difference is it's going to be a lot harder for them.
Yeah.
It's going to feel like the end of the world because they've done it their whole life.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's all we have on self-validation for today. Right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. If you guys have any questions, comments, or topics, let us know.
Bye.
Thank you.